The Galactic survey ship Eternal Seeker drifted helplessly in the void, its primary reactor core minutes away from a catastrophic breach. Captain Zixtal, their crystalline form dimming with despair, watched as warning lights flooded the bridge's holographic displays. Their crew of 15, representing some of the most advanced species in the Galactic Union, had exhausted every possible solution. The reactor's radiation levels had soared beyond what any of their environmental suits could handle. Even their maintenance drones had failed, their circuitry fried by the intense radiation. They had broadcast distress signals, but in this unexplored sector, help would arrive far too late. That's when their long-range sensors detected an approaching vessel. It was crude by their standards, a bulky exploration ship using primitive chemical propulsion alongside rudimentary FTL technology. The vessel's design was unknown to their database, but its trajectory was deliberate. They were responding to the distress signal. Unknown vessel, this is the GSS Eternal Seeker. Be warned, our reactor is critical. Radiation levels exceed safe parameters for all known species. Do not approach further, Zixtal transmitted, their crystalline form vibrating with the effort of maintaining calm. The response came quickly, in clear but accented Galactic standard. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth exploration vessel Horizons. We're reading your reactor situation. Prepare for emergency boarding. We can help. Before Zixtal could warn them again about the radiation, the primitive ship had already locked onto their hull. Their external cameras showed something that defied all logical protocols. Beings in what appeared to be simple protective suits, not the heavy radiation gear that would be necessary for such conditions. The boarding team cut through their airlock with remarkable speed. 4 beings entered, walking normally despite the ship's artificial gravity being calibrated to standard galactic metrics. They wore what appeared to be little more than industrial work suits with breathing apparatus. "We're human," the leader announced, her voice clear through a simple mask. "We've got experience with reactor systems like yours. Our bodies can handle the radiation long enough to get it stabilized. Where's your engineering section?" The Eternal Seeker's crew stared in stunned silence. These beings were walking casually through radiation levels that should have killed them instantly. One of them was already scanning the ship's systems with a handheld device, while another was unpacking tools from a carry case. You can't go in there." Zixtal's chief engineer, a gaseous being named Mist of Dawn, pulsed frantically. "The radiation levels are beyond survivable limits. For us, it's manageable for about an hour," the human leader, Sarah, replied matter-of-factly. "We've got anti-rad meds in our system, and our cells can repair radiation damage pretty efficiently. But we need to move fast. Show us to the reactor." What followed was a display of capability that would later be analyzed and debated in scientific circles across the galaxy. The humans worked methodically in conditions that would have liquefied most species' cellular structure. They manually repaired radiation-damaged systems, rerouted power through backup channels, and ultimately stabilized the reactor core, all while carrying on casual conversation among themselves about something called weekend plans. When it was done, the humans emerged from the engineering section sweating but functional. Their portable medical scanner showed radiation exposure that would have killed any known sentient species, yet they seemed merely tired. One of them actually joked about needing a cold beer. "Your reactor's stable now," Sarah reported, checking readings on her tablet. "We replaced some damaged components with spares from our ship. They're not quite to your specs, but they'll hold until you can reach a proper repair facility. We'll stick around until your systems are fully back online." Zixtal's crystalline form flickered rapidly, their species equivalent of astonished blinking. You saved our ship. Our lives. But how? What are you?" Sarah smiled, removing her protective mask now that the radiation levels had dropped. "Like I said, we're human. We come from a place called Earth. Pretty average place by our standards, though I hear other species find it a bit intense. We're just glad we could help." "Average? Mist of Dawn pulsed in disbelief. Our sensors indicate your species casually survives radiation levels that we consider instantly lethal. You operate in what should be crushing gravity. Your environmental requirements alone should make space travel impossible. Well, Sarah scratched her head, seeming almost embarrassed. Earth's a bit of a challenging place. Makes you adaptable, you know. Speaking of which, would it be okay if we adjusted your gravity settings? It's a little light in here. As the humans helped restore the Eternal Seeker's systems, Zixtal sent an urgent message to Galactic Union headquarters. The report was brief but would send shockwaves through the galactic community. First contact established with new species designated human. Primary classification: Deathworld inhabitants. Secondary classification: impossible. The Galactic Military Academy prided itself on training the finest spacefaring officers in known space. Its massive rotating structure housed training facilities for every recognized sentient species, with carefully controlled environments to accommodate their diverse biological needs. But the arrival of the first human cadets had thrown centuries of established protocols into chaos. Lieutenant Commander Vexera watched through reinforced observation windows as Cadet Maya Rodriguez completed the emergency survival course. The serpentine instructor's scales shifted colors rapidly in distress as the human moved through environments that should have been lethal. She's not even wearing an environmental suit, Vexera's assistant, a hovering cloud of conscious gas named Drift, observed. Just that thin fabric covering they call a tracksuit. The course had been designed to test emergency survival skills in various hostile environments. Cadets were supposed to demonstrate proper use of protective equipment and emergency protocols. Instead, Maya jogged through toxic atmospheres, scaled walls in high gravity, and swam through temperature extremes that would kill most species. Cadet Rodriguez, Vexera called through the communication system, trying to keep the alarm from their voice. The next chamber simulates conditions on a Class 4 volcanic world. Please wait for the proper protective equipment to be. Maya had already entered the chamber. The temperature readings made Vexera's scales turn pale. The human was sweating profusely, but continued methodically checking the emergency beacons they were supposed to be setting up. It's like a really hot sauna in here, Maya reported cheerfully. Reminds me of summer in Arizona, though the sulfur smell is pretty bad. The Academy's medical team watched in fascination as Maya's vital signs adjusted to each new environment. Her body seemed to possess automatic compensation mechanisms for almost every type of stress they introduced. When exposed to low oxygen, her blood simply carried more efficiently. In high gravity, her muscular and skeletal structure automatically adapted to handle the load. But the real incident, the one that would be discussed in Academy halls for years to come, happened during the spacewalk training exercise. A mechanical failure in the station's rotation system caused a sudden gravity fluctuation. 20 cadets from various species were conducting EVA training when it happened. Emergency protocols activated immediately. Rescue drones launched to retrieve the cadets, most of whom were completely incapacitated by the combination of zero gravity and spatial disorientation. But before the drones could reach them, the humans had already taken action. Maya and her fellow human cadet, James Chen, used their suit thrusters with remarkable precision, reaching their struggling classmates one by one. They seemed completely unaffected by the spatial disorientation that had overwhelmed the others. Humans have an inner ear structure that helps us maintain balance, James explained later as the medical team examined him. Plus, we train for zero-G conditions back on Earth. Swimming underwater gives us a pretty good foundation for space movement. The rescue took less than 15 minutes. The humans had secured all their classmates and helped guide the rescue drones to those who needed immediate medical attention. They even took the time to retrieve several pieces of expensive training equipment that had started to drift away. When they finally returned to the station, Maya and James were surprised to find themselves surrounded by bewildered instructors and medical personnel. They had assumed their actions were normal, expected even. They couldn't understand why everyone was making such a fuss. "I don't get it," Maya said, removing her spacesuit while the medical team frantically scanned her for signs of stress. Isn't this exactly what we're training for? To help each other in emergencies. Vexra, watching the medical examination, finally understood what made humans truly remarkable. It wasn't just their physical capabilities, impressive as they were. It was their instinct to use those capabilities to help others, their immediate assumption that if they could survive something, they had a duty to help those who couldn't. The Academy's training protocols were rewritten the following week. Humans were officially classified as emergency response specialists, their unique abilities now seen as a vital asset rather than an unsettling anomaly. More importantly, human cadets were integrated into mixed-species training groups, teaching their classmates how to work alongside beings who treated lethal environments as mere inconveniences. Perhaps, Vexra noted in their official report, what makes humans most remarkable is not their survival capabilities, but their persistent desire to use those capabilities for the benefit of others. They do not merely survive in environments we find hostile. They actively work to make those environments survivable for everyone else. The Helios-6 mining operation had been considered a lost cause by 6 different mining corporations. The heavy gravity, corrosive atmosphere, and constant seismic activity made resource extraction seemingly impossible. That was before humans got involved. Director Schimpft, their crystalline form refracting sunlight in complex patterns of disbelief, watched through reinforced windows as human miners worked in conditions that their risk assessment software classified as unsurvivable. Another record month, Operations Chief Elena Patol reported, dropping a data tablet on Schimpft's desk. She was wearing what looked like basic industrial coveralls, the kind other species used for light maintenance work in controlled environments. We've exceeded projected yields by 340%. The numbers were impressive, but what truly astonished Schimpft was how the humans had achieved them. Traditional mining operations required massive environmental control systems, robotic mining platforms, and extensive automated infrastructure. The humans had taken one look at those plans and literally laughed. Too complicated, Elena had said during their first meeting. All that equipment would just break down in these conditions. We'll do it the old-fashioned way. The old-fashioned way involved humans physically working in the mines, using what they called modified earth mining techniques. They operated in the planet's crushing gravity with handheld tools and portable extraction equipment. Their environmental suits were remarkably minimal, just enough to filter the corrosive elements from the air and protect against the worst of the heat. But how do you handle the seismic activities? Asked Schimpft's assistant, a hovering AI construct designated Monitor 7. Our models show that the constant tremors make structural stability impossible. Elena grinned, a gesture that still made many non-human staff members nervous. We learned to work with the planet's movements, not against them. Earth has plenty of volcanic regions, earthquake zones, and unstable mining areas. This is actually pretty mild compared to some places back home. The human approach had transformed what was once considered a worthless rock into one of the most productive mining operations in the sector. They had developed techniques that seemed to defy the laws of physics, or at least, the laws of physics as most species understood them. The most dramatic demonstration came during what humans casually called a bit of a shake-up. A major seismic event threatened to collapse one of the primary mining shafts. While other species' emergency protocols called for immediate evacuation, the humans ran toward the danger. Security footage showed Elena and her team working in conditions that the monitoring systems could barely record. They manually reinforced support structures, redirected magma flows, and rescued trapped equipment, all while the ground literally shook apart beneath them. Just like working the Pacific Ring back home, one miner commented afterward, casually brushing rock dust from their suit, though the gravity makes it a bit more interesting. What truly captured the attention of the galactic mining community wasn't just the humans' ability to work in such conditions, it was their efficiency. They had developed entirely new extraction techniques based on their unique capabilities, methods that other species would never have conceived Because they required direct physical interaction with environments they considered instantly lethal. The secret, Elena explained during a sector-wide mining conference, is understanding that what you call extreme conditions, we call Tuesday. We evolved dealing with gravity shifts, temperature swings, and atmospheric pressures that would kill most species. It gives us a different perspective on what's possible. The conference marked a turning point in galactic mining operations. Human techniques and training programs became highly sought after. Species that had never considered certain planets viable for mining now saw new possibilities, provided they had human consultants and work crews. But it also raised concerns among some members of the galactic community. If humans could so easily work in environments others found lethal, what did that say about their home world? What kind of planet could produce beings who casually treated death worlds as mining opportunities? I understand the concern, Elena told Shimd during one of their regular meetings. She was reviewing plans for expanding the operation to even more challenging regions of the planet. But look at it this way. Every environment we can survive, we can help make survivable for others. Isn't that worth something? Shim's crystalline form sparkled in what had become their equivalent of thoughtful agreement. The humans weren't just mining resources, they were mining possibilities, expanding the boundaries of what the galaxy thought possible. And they were doing it all while treating conditions that terrified other species as routine challenges to be overcome. The Helios 6 operation became known throughout the galaxy, not just as a mining success story, but as proof that humans could revolutionize industries simply by being themselves. Their Death World adaptations weren't just survival traits, they were tools for expanding the frontiers of what was possible. The Nexus Station's quarantine alert blared through every deck, its pulsing rhythm matching the growing panic of its 10,000 inhabitants. A previously unknown pathogen had escaped from a damaged research vessel, spreading through the station's air recycling system before anyone noticed. Dr. Kira Patel stood in the station's medical bay, scanning through infection reports on her tablet, while the station's chief medical officer, a bioluminescent being named Glow of Wisdom, frantically coordinated evacuation procedures. 90% of non-human personnel are showing symptoms, Glow of Wisdom reported, their light patterns flickering with distress. But none of the humans are infected. How is this possible? Kira reviewed the pathogen's structure on her screen. Our immune systems are pretty robust. Earth is packed with microscopic life. Viruses, bacteria, fungi. We evolved alongside them. This pathogen is nasty, but it's not too different from things we deal with naturally. The station's medical AI projected a holographic model of the pathogen spread. Current protocols require complete evacuation and station sterilization. Estimated economic impact: catastrophic. Estimated completion time: 3 months. 3 months. Kira shook her head. We can handle this faster. Get me Captain Chen on the line. Sarah Chen, recently promoted after her first contact incident years ago, appeared on the main screen. Already reviewing the situation, Dr. Patel. I've got 50 human crew members ready to assist. What's the plan? What followed was a demonstration of human crisis management that would be studied in medical schools across the galaxy. While other species required full isolation suits and complex atmospheric filtering systems, humans could work in the infected areas with simple protective gear. Our bodies are dealing with the pathogen naturally, Kira explained to the astonished medical staff. We can use that to our advantage. Instead of evacuating the station, we can maintain critical systems while treating the infected. The humans organized into teams, taking over essential station functions from their incapacitated colleagues. They worked tirelessly, their bodies fighting off the pathogen while they kept the station running. More remarkably, they began to develop a treatment using their own immune responses. It's like vaccination back home, Kira told the medical AI as they synthesized antibodies from human blood samples. We've been doing this for centuries. Our bodies don't just fight off infections. They remember them, adapt to them, become stronger. The crisis reached its peak when the station's main power core began to fail. The automated systems couldn't handle the complex repairs needed, and the non-human engineers were too sick to help. A team of human maintenance workers, led by Chief Engineer Marcus Wong, entered the core wearing little more than standard work suits and breathing masks. "The radiation actually helps," Marcus joked over the comm system as his team worked. "Keeps the pathogen levels down." Just another day at the office. 7 days into what should have been a 3-month crisis, the tide began to turn. The treatment developed from human antibodies proved effective. Non-human crew members began to recover. The station's systems, kept running by human hands, remained stable. "I don't understand," Glow of Wisdom said, reviewing the final reports. Their bioluminescence had returned to full strength as they recovered. "Your species treats lethal pathogens as routine. Even the radiation that should have made the situation worse didn't affect you." "We're built to adapt," Kira explained, updating the station's medical database with information about human immune responses. Earth threw everything it had at us: diseases, radiation, environmental changes. We didn't just survive, we learned to thrive. Our bodies remember every challenge they overcome. The Nexus Station incident changed how the galaxy viewed human biology. They weren't just physically resilient. Their very cellular structure was designed to adapt, to learn, to become stronger from threats that would devastate other species. Perhaps, the station's medical eye noted in its final report, the most remarkable aspect of human biological capabilities is not their strength, but their memory. Every threat they survive becomes part of their defense against future challenges. They are, in a very real sense, living archives of survival. The quarantine crisis became a turning point in galactic medicine. Human immunological research opened new frontiers in treatment and prevention. Space stations began maintaining human medical staff as standard procedure. What had started as a potential catastrophe had become yet another example of how humanity's death world origins could benefit the entire galaxy. The colony world of New Haven was dying. Its artificial atmosphere generators were failing, its protective magnetic shield was collapsing, and geological instability threatened to tear the planet apart. 20,000 colonists from 15 different species faced extinction. The Galactic Council's emergency session had lasted mere minutes before reaching an unprecedented unanimous decision. Send in the humans. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the Earth ship Horizon's Hope, now vastly upgraded from her first contact days. Around her, a joint task force of ships from across the galaxy had assembled. For the first time in galactic history, humans would lead a multi-species rescue operation. "The situation is complex," Sarah explained during the mission briefing. Her audience included crystalline beings, gaseous entities, and various other species she'd encountered over the years. "We need to stabilize the planet's core, repair the atmospheric generators, and evacuate colonists from the most dangerous zones. No single species can handle all these challenges, but together we can." The plan she outlined was audacious. Human teams would handle the most dangerous environments, working directly in conditions that would kill other species. But their allies' advanced technology and specialized capabilities would be crucial for success. Dr. Kira Patel, veteran of the Nexus Station crisis, led the medical response team. "The atmospheric degradation is causing multiple health crises among the colonists," she reported. "We'll need everyone's expertise. Our immunity to many of these conditions means we can treat patients in environments their own medical personnel can't enter." Elena Patel, now Director of Emergency Mining Operations, coordinated the geological stabilization efforts. "The planet's core reminds me of Earth's Pacific Ring of Fire," she noted. "We'll use techniques we developed on Helios 6, combined with crystalline technology for precision seismic control." As the operation began, the galaxy witnessed something remarkable. Humans moved through lethal environments with their characteristic casual efficiency, but now they were teaching others how to adapt their advanced technology to work in these conditions. They weren't just surviving. They were building bridges between species, showing how different capabilities could work together. The crystalline being's energy manipulation technology, guided by human hands, reached deep into the planet's core to stabilize its geological structure. Gaseous entities, protected by human-designed containment fields, helped repair atmospheric processors in zones too corrosive for solid matter. The humans themselves worked tirelessly in conditions that would have killed any other species, coordinating efforts and handling the most dangerous tasks. The crisis peaked when a massive seismic event threatened to destroy the main colony dome. 10,000 colonists were trapped inside as the atmospheric pressure began to drop. The evacuation would take hours they didn't have. That's when Maya Rodriguez, now a veteran of the Academy's Emergency Response Division, proposed a solution that epitomized humanity's approach to impossible situations. "We don't evacuate," she declared. "We adapt, just like Earth taught us to do." What followed was a perfect fusion of human resilience and alien technology. Human engineers physically braced the dome's failing supports, while crystalline beings reinforced them with energy fields. Gaseous entities regulated the internal atmosphere, while human medical teams treated those affected by the pressure changes. Species that had once seen humans as terrifying deathworlders now worked alongside them in perfect synchronization. As the crisis subsided and the planet stabilized, the galactic community realized something had fundamentally changed. Humanity's deathworld capabilities weren't just a curiosity anymore. They were a vital part of the galaxy's future. "We never saw our Earth-evolved traits as advantages," Sarah explained during the mission's closing ceremony. "They were just part of who we are. But now we understand. Every challenge our world threw at us was preparing us for this. Not just to survive in this galaxy, but to help others thrive in it." The New Haven operation became a model for future crisis response throughout the galaxy. Mixed human-alien teams became standard procedure for handling extreme environments and emergency situations. What had started as fear of the Deathworlders had evolved into something far more important. Understanding that the very traits that made humans seemingly dangerous were exactly what the galaxy needed. Perhaps, High Counselor Zixtal noted in their final report, "We had misunderstood the term Deathworld all along. Earth didn't create humans to bring death. It forged them to overcome it. And in doing so, it gave the galaxy exactly the allies it needed."